Haven't said this on Fox Sports News in the time we've been on air, but now it's time to talk monster trucks. And to do it, we've got one of the best drivers Australia has to offer, Clive Featherby, to do so. Clive, thanks for dropping by, mate. How are you?
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us today.
No worries. You're in Sydney for an event this Saturday night. Tell us about what you do and why you do it.
Basically, we've got the Monster Truck League that's going nowadays, and it's come from nothing and grown to a very serious event now where 600,000 people a year are coming along to the Monster Trucks, and it's become a real mayhem thing nowadays where they race the Monster Trucks, jump the Monster Trucks, and just about anything goes.
Tell us what you were doing up there on the Sunshine Coast before you got into Monster Trucks. Were you tinkering around in the shed one day looking at your ute thinking to yourself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bang 4 big tyres on this thing. How did it come about?
Started off in motorbike speedway, and we went from there, and I was involved in fireworks, and another guy was in the Monster Trucks, and I bought one, and we grew from there to where we've now got 10 of them. So so we've gone a long way along now. So
what about this?
How much is that piece of machinery worth, and how long does it take to make it into what it is?
That one there, that's a $350,000 machine, that one, and that's Outback Thunder. That's the Australian champion, that one there. There was a show in Adelaide a couple of weeks ago, and that's the current, that's what you call a Sky Wheelie. That's one of the contests we'll do on Saturday and in the World Finals later in the year. Each truck goes out, and that's part of a freestyle comp. You've got to see how many of them you can do in 2 minutes, and how high you can jump and how much stuff you can wreck and destroy. And basically, in the end, you just roll the truck at the end of the show.
Is this just the best thing in the world to do ever for a bloke?
It's a great sort of pastime. It knocks you around sometimes. The obstacles in Brisbane are going to be enormous. And in the end, myself and a driver who's come over, Greg Christensen, he drives a truck called Maximum Destruction. With that one there, we're going to have the turbine, and we're going over a fence that's going to be around about 14 foot high, and we're going to try and launch them up there so you can jump the highest and try and hit around 40 feet. So that's quite high for a monster truck.
What are you thinking when you've got it in your wheelie? Is that a scary moment when it's absolutely vertical, or are you used to it now? Because all you're seeing, I guess, is you're not seeing anything, no horizon, nothing. Yeah,
you're not really scared. It's like any job when you're doing your job, you're concentrating on what you're doing, so you don't really get scared at all. And if anything, if you fail, if you don't get it high enough, you're really angry with yourself, so you want to get back and get the next jump bigger and better again. And of course, if they go wrong, you end up breaking trucks, so then you tear one wheel off, so you keep going with 3 wheels, and no matter what happens, you just got to keep going till you do the good jump.
They go with 3 wheels?
They'll go, in the end you can get them down to, you'll see some of the trucks, if they'll rip one off one side, rip one off another side, just keep going with 2 if you can. Yeah, they're 4-wheel drive, so.
2-wheel drive in the end. Just like, they're probably not the most road savvy vehicles going around, so how do you get them from one event to the other? Do you actually physically have to take the wheels off and then load everything up in compartments in the back of a truck and go from one to the next?
In the United States, they put them on low load, put them inside trucks and take the wheels off and put little ones on. But over here, what we do is we take 2 on low loaders and carry them 2 at a time on a truck, and take wide load pilots all over the place. So
it felt like just giving it a bash on the freeway just for the sake of it, though?
No, but we have had them where we've had, like, for special permission, we've had to drive up main streets and that sort of thing. It certainly turns some heads when you see a monster truck go up the main street. I bet. We actually have done it in Dapto a couple of times. We're doing it again next week over there.
Cool.
What's the monster truck community like? Is it a small collection of guys? Because I know you're from the Sunshine Coast, and Christopher Mullen, MotoGP Suzuki star, is from up that area. He's got a few hot rods of his own. Do you guys all hang out and compare big trucks?
No, not really. It's a very, very small group in Australia. In America, it's enormous. Yeah. But over here, there's only 3 or 4 of us who are really into monster trucks and that sort of thing. And the cost keeps it as a small group over here.
Right.
And but the following is it's a very a weird sort of an idea. People don't sort of realise that really it's mums and dads who sort of do follow the monster trucks. You know, it's mums, dads and little kids. We don't get none of the teenage audience like the crusty demons sort of thing. So yeah, really that's what our audience is.
I've got a 4-year-old, he'd be besotted by
basically what our audience is.
Actions, he'd love it. But this is we had this on the news last night. This is an American guy?
This one here, that's Greg driving that truck there, and that's Taz. That's one of the trucks that goes to the World Finals. That's only just been released a few weeks ago, that one there, and it's sort of, it'll be there this weekend as well. And Scooby is another one. We've got a whole line: Batman, Bugs Bunny, Raptors Rampage, Monster Patrol. They're all basically things that attract children. You know, basically children are our audience, and it's like a daycare centre at one of our shows. It's the 5 to 14 brigade, and that's about it. It's like going to an Overgrown Wiggles concert.
Just don't step outside. You might get crushed. What sort of power are we talking about, and what sort of modifications do we?
Like Scooby.
That was the American guy telling us he could drive a monster truck really good, then had every excuse under the sun as to why it broke down afterwards and went on its side. But that guy there who's driving, that's Greg again, and he's rolled 23 times this year already, so it's an accepted thing in the monster truck community nowadays. They sort of want to see the trucks rolled all the time, and that sort of happens just about every show.
He's got issues. What sort of power are we talking about, or what sort of modifications do you need to make to drive those wheels?
They're all basically fuel injected, 1700 horsepower. There's like drag racing motors, supercharged Chevys, big blocks, 541 Chevys. So you rebuild the motors about every 6 shows. Around $80,000 motors, so they're not a cheap occupation at all. Yeah.
Just before we let you go, we got vision of another new invention that we saw on our screens last night. Just tell us about this one, the world's biggest motorcycle.
This is Ray Bowman. He's from New Zealand, and he travels around the country with us quite a lot now. And he built this over in Perth, and
drove it across the Nullarbor like this, did he?
He does put that inside a truck, yeah. And that's a 14-ton motorbike, that one there, and I don't know, he must have been bored, this guy, when he built this one. Yeah, he sort of comes around. Unfortunately, it can't jump too well, this thing here, but he certainly gets the imagination with it going anyhow. But and he sort of supports our acts on the night, and the kids love that as well. So it's all part of the show now.
How do you stabilise that thing? Because you see the 4 wheels tipping over. Is it pretty solid?
I'm worrying about the day when it does actually tip over. We're certainly not going to pick it up and walk it back out of the arena again, so we'll be calling for some serious help when that tips over.
Oh, great.
Clive, thanks for dropping by. So this Saturday night at Acer Arena in Sydney?
Yeah, this Saturday night, Acer Arena, then the week after at Dapto, then World Finals, 14th of November, 10 trucks, Americans, all hell that place.
In Brisbane.
Our producers taking everyone out there to have a look at it, the sights, the sounds, the smell of burning fuel. Does it get any better than that?
It's going to be full on, yeah. These next few shows, it's big time in Australia for monster trucks, and kids are going to love it. And big kids too.
Exactly.
That's all of us.
Exactly.